A gunman has killed at least 5 people and hundred several others at a newspaper office in the Maryland capital of Annapolis in United States. The suspect has been apprehended and no motive is yet established for the attack at the Capital Gazette newspaper. A reporter for the newspaper described the scene in the newsroom as being like a war zone, with reporters hiding under their desks for safety. TV footage showed people leaving the building, walking through a parking lot with their hands in the air. As a precaution, police forces have been deployed at offices of major media outlets in Baltimore and New York City. For now, police are treating the Annapolis shooting as a local incident and not one that involves terrorism. However, the police has said that it was a targeted attack as the Capital Gazette had received threats on social media. The Federal Bureau of Investigation is on the scene assisting local authorities. And to bring us more details on this news story, I am now joined in by Lynn Bui, journalist from Washington Post. Let me quickly go across to Lynn, who's joining us on the phone line. Lynn, what is the latest that you are getting on this shooting? And it's come especially at a time when America is already battling with the ongoing debate of gun control. All right, we are trying to get back with Lynn on the phone line, but this is the latest that we are bringing you at the moment. A gunman has killed at least 5 people and injured several others at a newspaper office in the Maryland capital of Annapolis in United States. Remember that United States is already battling gun control in the country, and the suspect at the moment has been apprehended and no motive has been established for the attack at the Capital Gazette newspaper. A reporter for the newspaper had described the scene that took place in the newsroom as being like a war zone. Meanwhile, reactions have been on the shooting and they have been constantly pouring in on Twitter. The First Lady of the United States, Melania Trump, called the shooting a brutal and senseless attack. She tweeted, and I quote, "Today's violence at the Capital Gazette was tragic and evil. My heart goes out to all affected in this brutal and senseless attack, and I send thoughts and prayers for comfort to the friends, family and colleagues of those killed and injured." The White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders also condemned the attack on Twitter. She tweeted, and I quote, "Strongly condemn the evil act of senseless violence in Annapolis. A violent attack on innocent journalists doing their job is an attack on every American. Our prayers are with the victims and their friends and families." Apple CEO Tim Cook also called the shooting an attack on free press, and he tweeted, and I quote, "Our democracy relies on the dedicated work of the free press. Today, our hearts are with everyone at Capital Gazette, the Annapolis community and journalists everywhere." All right, Lynn Bui is back with us. Let me tell our viewers that Lynn is a journalist with the Washington Post. She's joining us on the phone line. Lynn, thank you so much for speaking to us. Please tell us what is the latest that you have on this shootout. Also, this is happening at a time when America is already battling the whole debate on gun control.
Yes, police just had a briefing about 20 minutes ago where they identified all of the 5 victims in this particular shooting as employees of the newspaper that was targeted by the gunmen. The suspect in this particular case appears to be someone who had been engaged in a lawsuit with the newspaper claiming defamation, and he had recently lost his complaint.
Right. Lynn, also, would you actually be able to share some details about the suspect? I believe his name has already been shared with the media.
We understand that a bulletin sent to law enforcement identified him as Jared Ramos, a 38-year-old man who lives in Laurel. We have reporters out on the scene of an apartment connected with Mr. Ramos. It appears that law enforcement searching the apartment. Not sure if they found anything yet, but reports indicate that he had entered the offices of the newspaper with a long gun, shotgun, and shot through the newsroom doors and targeted employees.
Right. Also, Lynn, it's very important to establish that the safety drills that have been taking place have played a very important role, because that's what the reports are saying. That's how the police actually managed to report on time.
Yes, the police have indicated that they were at the scene within 60 seconds of the reports of gunfire. The governor, the mayor, the police chief have all said that that was critical, in preventing additional fatalities and casualties. The mayor of Annapolis said that that local law enforcement had actually practiced a similar drill just in the last week.
Right. Lynn, also it brings me to my last question, but that is actually the one plaguing us the most. How safe is America at the most? Because let's not forget that this is an incident that has taken place inside an office. How safe is America at the moment? That too, targeting journalists who put their lives on the line just to do their jobs.
This attack has certainly rattled journalists around the country. It appears to be the deadliest attack involving journalists in the United States in decades. Newspapers around the country, media outlets around the country have heightened security today, and I'm sure people will be examining this to see what can be done to prevent it in the future.
Right. Thank you so much, Lynn, for bringing us all those details. As you mentioned, that the examinations are currently underway, and we will continue to bring the latest to our viewers here on WION. U.S. correspondent Andy Roskin has more on this story. Listen in to what he has to say.
Once again, after a mass shooting, Americans are asking the question, why? Here's what we do know. The suspect, a white male, apparently shot his way into the building that houses the Capital Gazette. That's the daily newspaper of the capital city of Maryland in Annapolis. And apparently, he started shooting, and authorities responded very quickly, within a minute or so. But by the time they did, there were several dead and injured as well. Of those killed, 4 of them were killed right there in the building. And authorities say it doesn't look like this suspect took a lot of care in figuring out how to plan out this shooting. They said it was very haphazard, without a lot of planning. In fact, they found him cowering underneath a desk in the newspaper, and that's very unusual, because usually mass murderers here in America either kill themselves or they are shot in a shootout with police. But in this case, police took the suspect into custody with no shots fired. We're told that he's being very uncooperative in police custody, so we don't know yet a motive for all this. Was he upset at the newspaper itself and the journalists, or possibly just someone inside the building? We don't know that yet. Also, authorities say they found some sort of incendiary device that the suspect had with him. That was neutralized. But in the meantime, there are lots of fears in newspapers around the country and news outlets over this. Again, without knowing exactly the reason why he did this, several newspapers, large newspapers, have started beefing up security here in America. But this newspaper, the Capital Gazette in Annapolis, Maryland, is more of a smaller newspaper, not really a large outlet. So there's a lot of grieving there going on. And until we learn more from the suspect about why he might have done this, or till we hear from his friends or associates or family members about why he might have done this, we just don't know. And we'll certainly have more information for you as we learn it. Andy Roskin reporting in Chicago for WION.